Interesting. Very interesting. How much are we connected to what's going on? I feel like I should say something to you because I might be going somewhere this weekend. And the thing is, you go somewhere, you might never come back. It depends on whether you live or die or live, or something immense happens in that point where you come back a different person. Everybody looks at you and they say, he went away to the war and this is what we got back. And it becomes a common story. That's all anybody ever remembers is what they hear from somebody that doesn't know nothing. You don't know nothing, do you? Yeah, I heard ya, but it don't mean much. There's that type of thing, you know. But I may be going away, and you may never see me again. And that's an interesting thing, because I've always felt like I was gonna get hit by a bus. I would tell people, I don't know, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, but I had the sense that I would get hit by a bus. And there, you know, I've been to China a couple times, lived there for a year and a half, and went up into Mongolia and over into Tibet and learned their languages and just screwed with things. Because what Jimmy Ho told me was, I was an ambassador. You should have never told me that. I represent these people. I can give them a story. Ha! I change minds all over the world. I've even been told that. I hated America until I met you and I think things are okay. Something like that, you know. But I always felt like I was going to get run down by a bus. And I was in China the second time. And you know, it's heavy traffic. I don't understand why the Chinese are not winning the Indy 500, because the way they drive is, it's not without rules, it just happens to be lawless. And they watch and they pop, pop, pop. They know somebody's, and even in Saudi, before we even went into Iraq, I had to pass a guy on the other side of the road because he was coming right at me. You know, it's like, where do you people come up with your idea? There's no rule, there's no law. So the point is, after years of making a joke about, you may not see me tomorrow, I might get hit by a bus. I was walking across the street in Jiayuguan, and I was going to get a baijimo. The one teacher found it very entertaining. I liked it, baijimo. But it was the only thing I could get with meat. I need meat every few days just to keep my weight up, you know. And I was walking across the street, and I heard, whoa, and I looked, and there was a blue bus coming right at me. And I did just like Bill Murray did in Groundhog Day. This bus came railing around the corner like it was gonna run everything down, whether it could get out of the way or not. And I made sure I could get out of the way and that it couldn't run me down. I did Bill Murray, where he stood in front of the bus in Groundhog Day. I did it in the eyes of the driver. And I went, dook, 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 dook. And it went, whoo! It just narrowly missed me. I was like, wow, there went one more death I can't even count them all. There's so many of them. So many times I should have died if I'd have just stood there and said, ah, something like that. You got to be able to react. If you can't react, it's too late. And I did it. I just bounced like that on my feet and out of the way, and I went, whoo. I said, holy crap. I didn't have time to run. I just needed to get out of the way, and it was somehow the most effective way to do it. And so, when I was working with a mentally handicapped, there's this one guy. He was a Vietnam vet. Somehow his brain got rattled. I don't know if I didn't read his file. I don't know if he actually suffered brain damage in the war, or if he was just inept to begin with before going. And he came back all fucked up. You got to go to war knowing this is the only time I got the chance to kill a bunch of people legally. You have to see, I'm a pessimistic optimist. I say the glass is half empty because that means I'm that much closer to a fresh beer. As a pessimistic optimist, it's a real thing if you consider optimism. And so I'm working with these people. Oh, look, there's that fresh beer. I just cracked it because that one was half empty, and I didn't want to start a show with a half empty beer. I have to interrupt, Oh my God, time is money. And I got no time left. So working with these people, the mentally handicapped, and this guy, he was a very good person, smoked cigarettes with on break. You can't meet a Vietnam vet that doesn't smoke unless he was a cleric. There's another thing you need to remember. You hear all these stories, yeah, Grandpa was in Vietnam and everything. By the time the story got to you, they changed it enough that you think he was out there killing people instead of just Oppum and Band of Brothers, or whatever, Saving Private Ryan, where he let his good buddy die because he didn't have the guts to stand up because he was being friendly with that guy. You son of a bitch. He could have just attacked him. Could have saved his buddy's life instead. Yeah. Put it in slowly. Yeah. That German didn't put the knife into the guy that was Oppum's friend. Oppum put the knife into his friend because he didn't stop him. And he let him go, and he let him go, and he let him go. So there you get this. This guy says, as I'm putting him on what they called the PUD bus in Gaylord, I don't know why. It was mass transit, but mainly it was dealing with the elderly and the handicapped, and so they called it that, I guess. I don't know. I didn't do it. And this guy's walking out to get on the bus, and I would be helping people on the bus and saying, have a good day, get out of here, I'll see you tomorrow. And this guy looks at me and he says, I'll see you tomorrow, Judas. And I said, you never know. I said, I could get hit by a bus. I could die, and you may never see me again. And he went, and he said, because he was mindful. Just because he was tweaked doesn't mean he doesn't know what it's all about. He wasn't tweaked too much, too. I will say that. We had good conversations. He just couldn't deal with that, and he didn't want to live in the gutter. He had his way. He was mindful. He had his thing together. And he wasn't cheating anybody. We get screwed up pretty bad sometimes. And if you can't deal with it, sometimes it's not your fault. So I said, I might get hit by a bus. And he said, oh, ha, 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 ha. And then the next day I come into work. And I walk in the doors. And everybody's crying. And I'm like, what the hell's everybody crying about? And he said, oh. He died in his sleep last night. He had a cardiac arrest. It wasn't even the weekend. I may have played it like that, but I'm remembering it better now. I don't think about these things until they happen. And so there the guy, last words I said to him were, you may never see me again. And he died of a coronary in his sleep that night. So what's that tell us? You can laugh and laugh and laugh about the idea of somebody dying. But if there's somebody that you care about, you really need to go out of your way. Even make it embarrassing, humiliating, like you're going out of your way. But tell those people what you think about them. Just say it. I've had very few experiences where I feel like there was something I should have said to somebody else, except Tom Higgins Sr., who told me to read Carlos Castaneda. And when it finally came around to me, he was already gone.